Welcome to Forever Exiled, the Path of Exile podcast. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
We are in episode 122. Why are you laughing already?
Because I was just going to grab a drink of my tea when you were doing the intro. For some reason, I thought it would take a while, and then all of a sudden, I'm Justin, and I'm like, oh, right, I got to say my name.
Something.
So I had to put my tea down, and I'm laughing at my stupidity.
Unbelievable. Episode 122. We are here.
And you are so excited, it sounds like. What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I hear something in the background. It's bugging me.
Someone's breaking in. That's always what I think.
We'll just do it quietly because I'm recording.
Yeah, no kidding, right? And leave a note so I know what I'm missing when you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
No, my family's in my bedroom right now, watching stuff on the tablet or playing games on their phone, knitting. My wife's on call, so she's dealing with work stuff at the same time. And yeah, 122 and League launch.
Yeah, it's out.
What'd you say? You got what?
I was just gonna say my girls are out at dance. My boys have been told to be quiet or die. Although somebody's not listening to me because I swear I'm hearing something.
Awesome. And it was awesome to have BK on last week. How cool is it that we got her on for a League launch or a League reveal episode? We could talk about so much new stuff and be all excited together. It was really cool. So thanks, BK, for coming on last weekend.
Lots of stuff to dive into. Quick shout out to some new patrons this week. Zuka, Gift 5, Neat, Crush, and a bunch of resubs. Thank you so much for joining our Patreon and supporting the podcast. Your faces are awesome. If you're curious what Patreon is, it gets you access to After Dark, which is our podcast after the podcast where we just talk about more stuff. And
it's gonna be lawns soon.
Yeah, I think last week's was almost as long, if not longer, than the main episode. After Dark with BK tends to get dangerous. I don't remember quite often what we talk about until I'm editing the episode. And I apparently agreed to things this last week that I didn't remember, so...
Oh, yes. Things that he definitely regrets suggesting publicly. Well, at least
I don't feel like they were recorded, so whether they were really...
Yeah, no kidding, right? Imagine if we recorded as much of our chat after and before After Dark.
It would be dangerous.
And just had it would be like an 8-hour episode.
I got to say, though, I was really impressed when I did go to edit After Dark, because I actually did all the processing and how I wanted to... Because all of our audio is always processed for the main show and After Dark. I had actually all done that night.
That night? You mean while under the
very heavily under the influence.
Substantial amount of influence, yeah.
When I went to edit it the next day, I was like, oh, damn. I actually still did all right.
I'm so good at this.
No.
I can do it. Yeah, all right. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you, Jeff.
Anyway, it was fun. So we've got stuff to talk about, but first off, how was your week?
Lots. Good, actually. Thanks. Let's squeeze that in.
This is what people come here for, Ty.
It is.
League launch, Schmeeg launch.
Secondary. That's right. Hey, everyone. People are always going to be more important than PoE, so hush your mush. So, did I tell you I got my kids Clue for Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
Like the board game?
Mm-hmm.
They absolutely love it. And they want to play it all the time. But now I have 7. Now he's 7 and 8-year-old. And they're kind of at that stage. I remember when my daughter was around the 6-year-old stage, there was like scared of a lot of things. Daydreaming like crazy just before bed, and bedtime could be kind of hard. It's that like scared of everything, even thinking about death and stuff like that. So anyway, my son's now going through that stage, and he's scared of Clue. He's scared to go to sleep by himself because he thinks he's going to get murdered. And there's no, like, we intentionally avoid those kind of conversations. They're not allowed, doing things like hurting themselves or hitting themselves, and they're disappointed with themselves. There's, like we make sure that there's like a positive mentality all the time. And I mean, you're allowed to be sad, of course. I'm not trying to be all blanket statement here. But anyway, so, when we're talking about like Hercule Poirot or whatever, because that's a family favorite of ours and all this kind of stuff, it's just, anyway, you add Clue into the mix. We thought it would just be a fun game for them to like get their brains going and figure out trial and error and process. And now he thinks he's going to get murdered every night in his bunk bed. So it's a good time. We also got COVID. So the week between the, segue.
Good one.
My son came home and it was like crazy because like my son was totally fine throughout the whole morning, playing basketball, having a great time, comes in just after lunch. He was going to go back out. This was on like a couple Sundays ago now. He's like, I'm kind of too tired. 2 minutes later, he's on the couch with a fever. We test him with a rapid test, positive. He's sick the rest of the day, like a bad fever, right? Next morning, full of beans. Now, according to our regulations at the time, because I think they've changed once since, but he wasn't allowed to go to school all week because he tested positive, no matter if his symptoms are gone. So he just had an awesome mini spring break, just full of beans, having a great time. My daughter ended up getting it as well, but the next day, but again, only sick for half the day. My wife got it the same day as my daughter. She's still dealing with it. She's having a horrible time breathing, and just, it's like her body's fighting so hard, she just has no energy. But all the other symptoms are gone, so she took that week off work. She's back at work now, so that's nice. Still, life's really rough for her. And here I am. I'm like, I'm trying to get it. Like, just give it to me, get it out of the way. Give me the Omicron stuff, like, with the guy we watch, the suggestions that he has, or, the benefits of blah, blah, blah. Anyway, not trying to get all COVID-y, but yeah, so here I am. I didn't test positive the whole time.
You had it, though. You had to.
I got sick. I must have. I put on my sexy Thai voice last weekend. You could tell that I was sick, so that was from it, but never tested positive. So maybe if I had one of the more thorough, non-rapid ones, I would have had it. But
I bet your wife felt fantastic, but she was like, this is my chance to just be like Tyler and be like, yeah,
that's right. Erin was bugging me the whole week. She's like, you're just saying you got COVID, even though you didn't, just so that you can have the spotlight back.
Oh, Mr. Concussion guy. Oh,
100%.
Look at me.
She's
Why
like,
is
"Damn it,
everyone looking
Tyler."
at my wife?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we had a fun time, and we're even though she's having a really, not just short of breath, but really painful breaths, she and I are both very thankful that's as much as it got.
Sure.
I mean, we know people that have had substantially more serious stuff from COVID. We're thankful that we got it in the Omicron age. We haven't lost anybody personally to it. So yeah, lots to be thankful for, even though it was a week full of illness. But anyway, how about you? We've had, I guess, a couple of weeks now. Doing okay?
Yeah, I don't know. My week was fine. I had prolotherapy done yesterday, and I had to, it came up, I called because it was getting worse. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I want to get in there for prolo. I called them at the beginning of the week, and they're like, well, we can get you in Friday at 3:30 if you want. And I thought, okay, I've had it done. This would be the third or fourth time that I would go for it. I mean, usually like it's sore, but it's fine. So when I went to see him though, I've always focused on the left side of my spine. So I have degenerative disc disease in the lowest 3 vertebrae. And so they've always focused on the left side because that's where I get the most pain. And what's happened over the last little bit is this prolotherapy has been amazing, but I've started to notice now the left is getting stronger. And so I start to get pain in the right side. And he said that it's probably just because I was always having pain in the right side, but I just was overpowered by the pain in the left side. I never really felt it. And so I told him this time, I'm like, look, I was a chicken shit last time I came here. I knew there was pain in the right side, but prolotherapy is not fun. Like, they're injecting a massive long needle into your spine, injecting stuff. Then they put ozone in there to spread it. And it feels like you're being inflated from the inside. Not a good feeling. It's not cool. So this time I'm like, I'm doing the right side. I need you to do the left and the right side. And I don't want to, but so he does his thing. Oh my God, it was the worst ever. It was fine. Like, there are way worse things. It's just so unbelievably uncomfortable. And then when he's done, it actually felt like my back had gone out. Like, I was in his office and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like my back is actually out. And he's like, oh, that's good. That means we hit the right spots. I'm like, screw you. You're sitting there moving. I'm like,
yeah, that's right.
Crawling off his bed, trying to like stand up. But it was funny too, because he's done my SI joints, which is more on like the side, like on the hip side.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we've done this side in the last few. Do you feel any pain? And he's pushing. And I'm like, no, those feel fine. He's like, you're not going to tell me anyway. And I'm like, I would, because I'm not leaving here if something's hurting. But this time it's actually, yeah. So he finished that and it was awful. That night was just, it was brutal. I was taking stuff. I was trying to do whatever I could. And it's getting a bit better. It's a bit better. But yeah, that was, I don't even know what else happened. I had an insanely busy week for work, but everything now revolves around me getting my back to normal, because I got so much stuff to do. I can't have it being sore, but it was good.
And then you had league launch on top of that, trying to balance all that scheduling around.
I know. It was dumb of me to do it on the Friday, but I really, really needed to get it done, and I wasn't going to wait a longer time to do
Priorities first, man. You got it.
And I was talking to talking to Ethan yesterday, and we were talking about the whole Lost Ark versus Path of Exile, and he tells me about stuff that's happening in the community, because a lot of times I don't know what's happening, but he was telling me that apparently some Some streamers were going to play Lost Ark that normally play Path of Exile, that people were kind of giving them a hard time about not playing the PoE launch and instead playing Lost Ark. And I was like, well, Path of Exile is going to be around. Like, who cares what they play? Why? I don't understand what the problem is. Play what you want to play. PoE comes out with a new league every 3 months. Even if you skip one, you're going to play it again later. Like, I just seemed like a silly thing to be upset about. So we're also not, me and you aren't big like, well, we got to be the fastest. And, oh, if we don't get to play the whole day for whatever. But it was that league launch. We're going to get into it, but oh my gosh, so much fun.
Worth revolving time around this time for sure.
Yeah. I had such a blast. Again, we're going to talk about that's what a great league launch though. So good.
Agreed.
All right, so let's talk about some stuff, and well, I guess let's just get right into the league launch, because we're going to talk about a couple like little hot fixes and whatever. But can we kind of combine them, or how do you want to do this? Ty's got notes, so I don't want to mess it up.
No, you do whatever you want. I mean, they came out with hot fixes and they were all great, but they came out with some MTX stuff, right? Like the challenge rewards. They came out with some new tabs.
Did they do 4 challenge? Or there's a lot of, okay, yeah, there's a lot of challenge rewards this time. And
they didn't do a JSON. They didn't provide a JSON for people before launch. So there were a few things that weren't like normal about our experience that I don't know. I do want to touch on, whether you want to do it now or later.
Hey, you lead the way, Ty. I'm following along.
Hey, just follow me without my movement speed or movement skill. Just follow me.
Oh my God. Have you
hug the right?
I told Josh, I taught Josh. So again, we're going to be all over the place because I'm just going to throw in stuff randomly.
We're excited.
We played the league launch with our buddy Josh, who's back. He played Path of Exile a long time ago, and he's gotten really into it right leading up to this launch. He wanted to start playing. He's super into it. He was so excited because he spent $100 on a supporter pack. So now he's like, I got to like it. But we played the league launch with him, and at one point you had to leave to go get your kids. And so him and I were playing, and we were going through where were we? I want to say we were
probably
in Act 3. I think we were in Act 3, heading to Piety, the first Piety fight. And I told him, I'm like, hey, come here. I want to show you what you need to know for whenever you're playing with Tyler by yourself. And so we're in the path to go up towards Piety, and there's the doors. You got to walk through all the doors. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, anytime you come up to a door, you need to movement speed through it. Don't open the door. and he's like, he starts laughing. He's like, I didn't even know you could do that. I'm like, do it every single time you find a door. Do not open them. And it is hilarious because Tyler doesn't use a movement skill, so he gets mad every time.
Door. Just slow down. Stupid doors.
It's so fun.
Anyway, thanks for teaching him. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I was really excited to show him that. If that's all I've done to teach him something in Path of Exile, success.
Nice.
Success.
Nice.
All right, so what's the order here? Sorry, I kind of jumped in there.
No order. They had some good hot fixes, fixed a whole bunch of stuff. They came out with MTX, new video for the new loot boxes that they have.
Yeah, the Harmony mystery box. What'd you think?
Mm-hmm. I think it looks pretty cool. They're not my style, but there were some things that I absolutely loved. Obviously, the music was actually nice, and it was very different and unique this time, and I really liked it. I liked the pets, the anglerfish, I think they're called, and the peacock. I think they look really cool. They're a lot more, I don't know, they look more PoE 2 than PoE 1. They look different. I don't know if it's their movements or what, and now I don't care about movement skills, but you were saying movement skills, dash, that new dash skill. I could never play it because it's so bright, but goodness, that is cool. That is like in your face. And the portals, so good. I actually really like the flowers, the heritage theme. It's not everything's flowery, but there were a few, like there was the leap slam got a bunch of flowers in it. The roses, was it? It's kind of like a rainfall of roses for your hideout. Did I say leap slam? The character, not the character. Yeah, there's like that character effect. You know, the things you can just get to spin around you, the weapon. So those are actually really cool. I like things that suit like a realistic world, but they might not necessarily suit Path of Exile. Like it would be cool to have something really flowery, like as a theme in a game. It
reminds me of like Duresso-y.
Dungeony.
It seems very Duresso-y.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you notice the footprints for the heritage one?
I wonder if the
Did you see it?
video is legit. Like there's a line.
It's like a line. It's like a dotted line and then a circle. And then it was I thought it was really cool because I've never seen them do footprints like that. Like that's not actually footprints. That's more like a trail, but it was cool.
Yeah,
Look cool.
and I wasn't sure if it was a glitch or legit, but that's a great way to see your footprints. Like I could see it a lot more than I could other stuff, especially, you know, when you and I are both playing minions.
Oh my
Poor
God.
Josh.
You can't see anything.
But the video was cool. I'm really looking forward to when they're normally in the store so that I can go and get those flowery
Yeah, I don't know that I'll
things,
do
so-
the Harmony box. I normally do, but I don't think I will this one. They were cool,
Yeah.
but they weren't, for me, it wasn't. I have gotten really screwed in the last few mystery boxes with just decorations for my hideout, which is useless because the people who decorate my hideout for me aren't using those. So it's not,
okay.
I don't do them. They're cool though, man. Some of the curved heritage designs.
The
They're
hideout
really
stuff they
unique.
really went crazy with
Mhm.
in a good way. It looks really good.
Yep.
I agree. And then MTX related, the Challenger Awards, we mentioned it already. There was 5 or 6, I don't remember the exact number, but I'm looking through, like I'm skipping through because I'm like, I just want to see what the 3 Challenger Awards are. The one time I skip a video when they release it, I'm like, okay, there's that one, there's that one. I'm like, wait a second, then they just have that same product, but that looks different. So I go back. It's like 6 or something. Really cool,
Mhm.
really neat. I
Yeah,
think it
it's
goes
different.
up to 30, challenge 38 now.
38, yeah.
Something like that.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
No
And,
portals,
I
which I
mean-
like because then I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's right. You can be
I know I'm not
apathetic
getting
some
them
weeks.
anyway. I can
That's
get to
right,
like the
yeah.
first and second one usually, but
Yeah, what else do we have? Tabs, Justin.
Oh
They came out with the
my
gem and
gosh.
flask tabs.
I think
and
we
GGG.
talked about them.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
they are so good. I love it. I love just control. The more I can just control click from my inventory and know I can find them later is awesome. I love
Agreed.
that.
Yeah, super cool. And I just the different ways to organize. You can filter based on whether it's life flask, mana flask, hybrid, or utility, unique. What else did they have? They had for the gems, you can organize it based on color, right? And only filter based on color, but quality or level, and so many really cool options. I think it's awesome. As soon as the affinity system was working and just really, really cool. And it makes vendoring so much easier. I could see people's filters definitely changing now because for me, for example, I would only do for filters. So when you do the recipe, I would do the filters 14% and higher for both gems and flasks because I only wanted to do 3 gems or 3 flasks to get the blower bauble or the GCP.
Sure.
And now I can I don't, and I didn't want to have to worry about having, oh, well, there's a 10% one and there's this one. So I'm getting like uneven amount. I just liked having every 3 flasks gave me the currency that I was trading in for gems. And so now this is nice because now you can just take it however it is, throw them all in just from one category. And I really, really like it. Really like it.
Yep.
I do kind of wish that the quality that it organizes by didn't go from 15 to 19, but it went from 14 to 19 just for the sake of the GCP recipe, right? 14 times 3 or, 40 divided by 14,
Yeah, it gives you your
you
40.
just need 3 flasks, whereas if you divide it by 13, then you need 4 flasks. So I do kind of wish it, instead of going from even though I like the nice 5-digit numbers, I wish it started at 14 instead of 15. But outside of that, so glad, working perfectly, flawlessly, as far as I know, right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that this, because I don't really use Path of Building, I don't use it right off the bat. I provide it, the paste bins and stuff in my guides, because that's the tool that almost everybody does use, but that's not how I like to create my build. So I wasn't too concerned about it. The tool that I use is PoE Planner. Somehow, and I don't know how all this works, but they were able to get the passive tree ahead of time. And it ended up in retrospect that it was a completely legit and accurate passive tree. But GGG, as far as I know, they didn't provide a JSON before launch, which is what it's like that data dump, I guess, that these content creators use to update stuff like Path of Building. And so for the first time in forever, Path of Building didn't even have a chance to update before the league. Now, and I totally get how frustrating that is for so many people because of the complexity of it. And I think if GGG is going to do that again, they should probably have another link on their passive tree or on their website for the upcoming passive tree. So they'll have current passive tree and then, next league's passive tree or something so that people at least have the passive tree is the biggest deal in terms of planning your character and knowing things in advance, kind of like how they enjoyed giving us the Atlas passive tree ahead of time. But I actually really kind of also liked the fact that they didn't have a JSON ahead of time. It really kind of, like, I get the frustration of it, but And I'm sure that there's going to be people that are going to be even more dependent on some sort of content creator's guide now because of their nervousness of not starting the league efficiently. But I really do hope that it encouraged some people to be a little bit more independent with their guide creation, a little bit more, instead of needing the tool, just being like, okay, well, do I want 39% more damage with this, but 10% less attack speed? Or do I want, like just looking at the pros and cons of your gems? I hope it kind of encouraged a little bit more on the fly creation for people. You know what I mean? Hope there was a positive element to it in the community.
I am a little curious why they didn't. I didn't think there was that huge of a change in the tree, but it is a little weird to have it available on the PoE planner, but not POB, when POB is what the huge percentage of people are using. I would be more upset or bothered by it if there was a substantial change in the tree. Granted, there were some changes, but it wasn't last league changes. You know what I mean? Like where the whole tree flips around. But I think I'm a little more curious as to what the reason was that they didn't release it and it wasn't available as early, because I think the problem is Path of Exile has taken the direction, which sometimes we've disagreed with, of we're fine leaving third parties to take care of and represent certain portions of our game. Loot filters is one of them, certainly on the passive tree and planning in your build. I think when you don't make that stuff available, you put those people under sometimes unnecessary criticism or unnecessary stress because people are looking to them to get it when they can't control it. And again, if there's a reason, certainly, I don't think GGG should ever release something if it's not done and ready and you can't use it. But I'm a little curious because I highly doubt they were adjusting the tree right up until the moment of launch.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I would doubt that as well. Not like we would know, but I do think so. I mean, and to give an example, like you said, of the unwarranted criticism, and to be fair, the person that criticized Filter Blade and Neversink, they totally called themselves on it after the fact. They felt really bad. So, the person's like, don't give them a hard time. But there was a post where it was like, GGG Neversink, and, just like, not being his community upfront and thoughtful. And Neversink really took it personally, had a big post on the Path of Exile website in response to it. It really got him going. And there was a lot of support there too. And like, it's water under the bridge now in terms of the person learning their lesson and all that. But yeah, it really gets some of the content creators that are actually like, imagine this game without Neversink.
Right.
Imagine this game without Filter Blade. Sure, yeah, and how things work, somebody else might have stepped up. I use Filter Blast, for example, to double check my work. I make my filters manually, but then I use that site to double check things. But like, it's crazy. Like in this post, Neversink said that he's in contact with GGG sometimes before a league to double check information, and that's really cool that they're actually like that with just normal people like you and me. But yeah, I'm big on making sure that the bare basics are taken care of by first party. We've discussed that a ton already, but it is interesting that the JSON wasn't out. Maybe it was because the tree didn't change a lot, but there's still other information like the gem list and stuff like that. Huge changes to the gems, though. I mean, goodness me, imagine being one of those people where they add that stuff. Oh, having the JSON ahead. Do you even know, is the JSON just the tree? Is it all information?
No idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
I do know that like Local Identity, the guy who does the community fork for Path of Building, I want to say he was tweeting like right as the league was launching, because that's when he was getting the information for them to actually be able to start updating it, which is amazing. Like that individual and the people who help do an insane job with Path of Building. And I can understand why people lean to Path of Building, because the tree is a massive part of this game and the math is not provided very well in game. So you need something to try and, effectively plan out your builds. So it's tough when it's not ready. I am torn a little bit because I also don't see the huge issue of sorting that out as you play. That's just the way I play, though. I understand that that's not how everybody does it. I don't tend to go, I need to have everything mapped out before day one. But I can understand why some people want that.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about it too, and I'm on both sides. I'm the kind of player where I like having things planned out ahead of time, but I also don't have a problem as long as there's consistency with it, right? And a good understanding about it. If nothing's available before league launch, everybody's blind, working on last league's information or the gem information that you get, and everybody's starting blind, And after the league starts is when guides start coming out, is after the data mining has happened and PoE is updated, and then eventually path of building. Like I like that because it still encourages people to do their own thing, do a little bit more thinking on their own, understanding the game without tools. And then whether it's a day or a week later, things start happening. I like that.
I think you're at the point though now where that's just not going to be a thing and can't happen. Path of Exile for too long now has been here's some information early, start planning out your builds. And because it's not a game where you can on the fly change your build, like there's no way within the first week of a league that you're going to be rebuilding your tree at level 70. You can't. There's no way you're going to have the currency to be able to do that. So I think I would rather still, as much as I say, like, I don't have a problem with it, I do 100% understand why people would like to see it. And also, I don't know what the percentage is, but I would guess it is a vast majority of people that follow some form of a guide, and not having that as you're going into a league launch can be tough.
I have to say, though, that I am absolutely loving this new system of them getting information out earlier. Mm-hmm. They still have kind of their standard system, and this time item filter information was done pretty close to league launch. It didn't give too much time, but for the most part, this information of having a Twitch stream 1 week in advance, it gives us so much information that we would normally have crazy amount of questions on 3 days before. So I still really like this setup, and it allows people like myself who do guides, like I can get a lot of the information from their initial reveal. I can spend a lot of time getting my content creation done, whether it's videos or writing out the guide. As long as I'm not starting from scratch, I can do 2 or 3 guides without cutting into personal or family time, and I'm not stressed about it. I can be like, you know what, I'm not really in the mood tonight, and I can start tomorrow, and I still have plenty of time. So I'm always nervous about filter stuff because their layout still isn't definite. There's still guesswork in how they present their filter information. So I know that filter creators check with each other all the time about certain things, just because the post still has gray areas, no matter how much, and they've done a great job changing it over the years for sure, or over the leagues. But like, for example, this time around, there's a lot of filters that use mod names to filter out identified items that drop. Most of the time that's corrupted items, but there's other ID'd items that drop as well. And so they'll go through and they'll want certain mod names to show no matter what, right? Whether it's 35% movement speed or a T1 for some type of role. And they changed a lot of mods and the base types those go on. And that wasn't in the item filter information at all. They had tainted currency, they said, was gone. Like Chris just said that in his interview with Ziggy, I think it was. But then there was absolutely no mention of it in the filter post, which means it still exists in standard, but it's never going to drop again. But that kind of information is really good to know. So anyway, there was a few questions, but the community figured it out themselves. And overall, I absolutely love the amount of time content creators have. What? You got their stupid smile
got into
on.
your dumb filter talk, and it made me laugh because I was thinking to myself this week, I was kind of laughing to myself that somehow we have created a channel within our Discord that I actually debated muting.
Why?
The filter channel. I don't care. I started reading through. You guys are all talking crazy.
Yeah, mute it.
No, I won't mute it. I'd still have it, but it just made me laugh that I was debating muting a channel within our own Discord server.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I only get notifications if I'm actually mentioned and added.
So every time you type in the filter channel, make sure you add Wrecker of Days, even if it has nothing to do with him.
Did you have PoE week? Like, did you do any league prep coming up to this?
Nope. I started thinking about, no, not really. I didn't do any playing. I didn't do much thinking besides reading the stuff that was coming out. I looked at a couple uniques that they tweeted. I didn't have much time through the week to do anything PoE.
But you did. Now, normally this is accurate. What Justin's saying about himself is true, right? You'll ask him, so what are you going to play? What are you going to do? I don't know. But all of a sudden, half an hour after the Atlas tree gets posted, Justin's like, this is my link. What do you think?
Oh my
Pretty
God,
cool,
the
right?
Atlas tree was so fun.
I know
So
Justin was
much
having
fun.
and I mean, all of us were. I mean, how great is it to have thousands of hours into this game, but then have something brand new? But it's exactly what we like. It's like a brand new passive tree.
Mm-hmm.
So it was so fun to go
I think
through.
the thing that is cool with the Atlas passive tree is it's not the difficulty sometimes when you're trying to plan out a Path of Exile build tree is it's very expansive. It's very expansive. It's very big. It's very difficult to know exactly, am I going the right direction? Am I getting the right stuff I really need? You add the Atlas passive tree, I don't care what anybody says. I don't think you can screw it up. There may be some things, maybe like Ethan was telling me that apparently, if he was watching a Grimrow video about if you don't get the right percentages, you might not get, map progression. I don't know. I don't know how anybody would know that ahead of time before you play, but maybe that is true. I still don't think you could screw it up. I think they did such a great job of going, hey, what do you like in Path of Exile? And here's a tree to build around it. I had so much fun with that Atlas passive tree.
Yeah, just so much fun. It's neat because like who knows what the base math is now. Like they didn't say that they changed any of the, there's a default 8% chance that this mechanic can show up in a map or whatever. Oh my goodness, I took my hoodie off because I was too hot, and like 3 seconds later I'm freezing again. But
get my sweater back on.
But yeah, but they added an Atlas tree stat tab. Or not tab, but like a little thingy. So it'll actually show you the totals of your stats as you go through and fill out your Atlas passive tree.
Really?
You didn't see that?
No, I didn't see that.
What is wrong with you?
Where was it?
I mean, I hope it's consolidated well, but that there's not like 5 different lines of extremely similar stats, that it's capable of being consolidated. Obviously, that's dependent on how they worded things, but I hope it's worded so that things can be consolidated well. But yeah, really, really neat. So you can see your progress as you go through. But one of my favorite things about the Atlas passive tree is the look. It matches the picture behind it. Like you can see where people's heads or hands are. It's like the Atlas tree itself interacts with the image behind it. It's really, really cool. I'm curious though how we're going to go about with endgame.
In what sense?
Because, well, before I had Maven on all the time.
Right.
Now you have to choose, and it's not, you can't, as far as I know anyway, I'm only in Act 4, and we'll get to that in a sec, but I'm only in Act 4, so I haven't discovered endgame yet. But as far as I know, you have to pick either one of the Eldrick or Maven.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
one of the
she's
3.
considered Eldrick as well, and only one. And so, I tried to find on PoE DB what the different Eldrick mods would be. I couldn't find, if it's there or not, I couldn't find it listed. Because I wanted to see, like, is there one that I'd actually prefer to go through and figure things out? And then it's like, when do I want to do? Maybe like I'm excited to see, like, what am I always going to pick? Is there one Eldrick? Like for me as a minion guy, I was always Elder. I didn't care about one Shaper drop. I think there was one, I mean, I forget if it's still relevant or not because they just changed some of them, but there was one like Shaper Shield mod that I really liked for Righteous Fire. But outside of that, I was Elder all the way with a lot of my minion stuff. Even I think it was the Elder one that benefited the Righteous Fire mods for 6 linking in your helmet. So I'm curious if there's going to be one like that for these ones. And then when do you throw in Maven? Because obviously you want some of those Awaken gems. And ooh, it's going to be good. What kind of themes did you go with on your Atlas tree? Do you remember?
I focused a lot on map stuff because so when I sat down and I looked at it, I thought, okay, one of my biggest gripes has been that it's not a gripe, it's just a frustration. If I have half an hour to play, I want to go in and play. I don't want to feel like I have to finish every little weird part of this map. So I actually didn't want to do anything that would focus on things that would take me out of the map or focus on extending the map. I wanted to more focus on the maps themselves, the mobs in the maps, because they have some great ones that actually affect rares. And I think I did ritual as well, but I still haven't 100% figured out my Atlas because I haven't gotten into endgame yet. And I think that's one thing that's nice too, is you can kind of plan out the beginning part of it and then figure it out, because there's 2 massive, well, at least two are very big of the Eldritch sections in the top right and the top left. I don't know if I'm going to want them. I took them.
Yeah, that's right.
Just so that I can go like, hey, at least I know the points are spent if I like them, but maybe I don't. So that's going to give me a bunch of points back. But I didn't do any. I know that people are like, oh, you got to do the essence and you got to, which is fine. I'm not a big essence person though. I get it. I know that people like them. I'm sure people sell them and make currency. It's just a headache to me. So I don't tend to go that route. I hate Abyss. I love Abyss rewards. if an abyss opens up for me to go inside, I'm angry. I don't know why. I have no clue why, but that irritates me. I've never been able to figure out why it bothers me so much, but I'm like, God, and you can't skip it. So
No, that would just be rude.
yeah. So
Someone opened their door for you.
I think that my main focus was Keurig, map stuff, the rares, and then I did take a lot of the ritual stuff. And then I did take those sections for the new stuff, but I don't know that I'll actually take that in the end.
Interesting.
What
I'm
about
really
you?
curious about Keurig. I'm really curious about how that
I can't wait.
integration for getting... I think that's going to be a big source of getting a lot of the maps that are no longer typically... I mean, I know it's all core content, but I mean like the central focus, the new Atlas, the new influences or horrors or Eldritch mods. I think that's going to be a great way to re-roll and get some of those more legacy core. Legacy's the wrong word. Man, they use so many normal words that mean something specific. The Shaper, the Guardians, the Conquerors. I think that's going to be a great way to get those items. So I'm really curious to see how
What did you
get those. For me, I did the complete opposite. I'm like, there's a lot of really cool new content. I have no idea what I'm aiming for. So I'm going to go for content I know I love, and I don't want to leave the map. Like for me, I like bosses and I like mini bosses, but I'm finding that I don't like Metamorph very much. I don't find it very rewarding. And there's sometimes you can get a Metamorph that just has a bad combo of mods that's just way too hard to kill at certain stages. Like maybe when you're completely beefed up, but to get it through the leveling process, I find Metamorph, I'm fine having it at a very slow chance. I used to love investing into it on the old Atlas passive tree. And like a previous complaint that I had about it was that even if you guarantee that you get a second chance to build a second one, you're still not going to be guaranteed that you actually have the parts for it. 'Cause some body parts only roll one body part, right? So this time around, I'm like, I'm going for everything I love. I know the kind of content I don't like anymore. So I went with rogues. I got all of the rogue clusters. The fact that there could be 20 of them in there and they're doubled up and the extra currency drops from them. Harbinger. I love the idea of Harbinger just because I just love their currency. I think it's a lot of fun and it's just mob upon mob upon mob, and they fixed how they spawn. And Torment. I went crazy with Torment as well. Just the prospect of having a boss at the end of your map surrounded by spirits. Oh, but like getting 5 in there. Oh, that would be so fun and scary out of nowhere. And there could be so many of them. And just, I love the Torment ones and the rewards they got. But ironically enough, even though I love content that just keeps me in the map, I went with Abyss. I do hate when it goes backwards, but there's something about Abyss that I like. I think I like that it's guaranteed to drop you a jewel if you complete it. But the belts, I love those Abyss belts. And so I think the reason I'm willing to turn a blind eye to the fact that I can get taken out of a map and do my own experiences, I like those boss fights, which is really nice. But I love those belts, and I want as many of them as possible. I want that, 90 life and 340 resists on an Abyss belt. I don't even remember if that can drop. I think it is. I think they roll the same as normal belts. So just love that. And 1 jewel is not too much for Tyler. So I can handle having 1 Abyss jewel every now and then. Yeah, I like it. So that's what I went with. Rogues, Abyss, Harbinger, and Torment.
Nice.
Yeah. And I can't wait to see it come to fruition. I might even cheat a little bit, Justin, because I think it's on Wednesday. This comes out for console, and I might get a whole whack load of Atlas passive points. So it might be kind of cool to see what it looks like right off the bat. So pretty cool, but I'm excited. I'm going to be focusing on PC play. Of course, I want to play with you and Josh until you two burn out, so it'll be a lot of fun.
He might not.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I might be stuck on PC all league if this guy goes crazy. I mean, hey, he spent $100.
He's in.
How's your league launch been?
Okay, so yeah, let's talk about league launch. First off, it was so smooth. I was joking while you were streaming that they had a queue and what a terrible game. I'm out. But it was so smooth, especially because they tweeted that they set records for the most concurrent players ever playing the game. I didn't crash. I had a queue, but that's completely natural. I don't have a problem with that. It was so smooth. I really haven't found anything yet. Like, I'm not done. I'm in disclaimer. People, we're recording on Saturday. We know you're going to hear this on Sunday. And every time we say something smooth, something happens Saturday night that makes our podcast irrelevant. we've actually never recorded this close to release ever.
That's true. We always record on Friday. We had Friday was a medical day.
It didn't go well for Justin. So that means this whole afternoon is going to be scuffed trying to get this out. But it was smooth, man. Like it operated so well. The new content, the new Archnemesis stuff is so much fun. It's really, really fun. It's not hard. You don't do it every zone. Like
there's some that I regretted doing. Like
I shouldn't
hasted
say
in like zone 3.
I shouldn't say it's not hard in difficulty to play it, because it certainly can. There was one that it was called permafrost. That's permafrost, FYI.
Yeah, that's right.
I was frozen full on. I mean, it's not hard in the sense that you don't have to do anything weird to do it. It's not difficult to understand.
The mechanic isn't difficult, right?
It's quite simple. They kind of give these borders when you can do the combos of things. I think it would be cool if they actually told you that, hey, if there's a square around them, this is for a recipe. I mean, we know it because Chris said it. I don't even know if it was in the patch notes. I think it was just him.
No, it was just
speaking the words. That's not great for the average player. You know what I mean? Like, if you didn't watch that, it's not. I don't think it's overly apparent that, hey, the combination of these three is going to give you something.
Right.
I personally,
well, that's because nothing happens after the second one. So you're like, oh, sweet, matching backgrounds or whatever it is. You put in the second one, and you're like, what? Is it just
you
pretty?
gotta wait
to
to complete them, and then it drops it. And it
but you need it on the third. So why would you use the third?
Second.
But it still highlights ones that you can't use.
Yeah, it's just. I think there were maybe a little bit better way to just visually show that this is for it, but it is very. I just like how easy it is to play as I'm going through the zone. It's fantastic for gearing, amazingly good for gearing. Like, and especially if you're chasing uniques. I saw somebody that said that they were doing fetid pools for 45 minutes to get Goldrim and Tabula, which cracked me up because that's literally the second zone. If you wanted to just keep running it and chasing the uniques, but I think it's very smooth. I'm playing around with skeletons, which I decided to go minions. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why.
You haven't done minions in forever.
I know. And it wasn't the thought. Well, originally when I had seen the patch notes, I had kind of talked about the idea of going explosive arrow, but then it sounded like that's what everybody was doing. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And I played around with a couple different ideas, but somebody was talking in Discord about the idea of skeleton mages, which you do need a specific unique jewel. So I might go for that.
You used to need 2. I don't know if you need 2 of those anymore.
But it's like 50 chaos right now. So I'm like, nah, I'm gonna just stick with just normal skeletons for now, because that's insane for a league launch. But I'm having, I mean, good lord, minions couldn't be easier. Once you get a few setups proper, I'm just using skeletons, zombies, specters, and a stone golem, and I'm not dying. Everything dies very quickly. Good God, Val Skeletons is bananas. I can't believe
nuts. It's been at its power for so long. I can't believe it. It seems so insanely overpowered.
I love it. So and I'm in Act 8. I haven't finished yet, so I'm not mapping. I'm really excited to get to mapping. Like I was saying to Ethan, he's actually ahead of me, and he was laughing. He's like, "This is the first league I think I've ever been ahead of you at a league launch." And then he followed that up with, "Well, I mean, you did go get needles in your back and you haven't been able to move." But I was saying to him, it's one of the things that makes for me a league launch successful is the content engaging, that I'm going to be fine going through the process I hate the most, which is leveling so I can get to maps. And I found Archnemesis is very good at that. It's really good at me not feeling so blah about having to go through the acts,
right?
Because it's something to look forward to. I'm excited to find the statues and to do the thing and to, progress on. So it's made going through the acts much better, but even more so is this carrot in front of me of, look what's going to happen when you get to maps. I am over the moon excited, and I get it. There's a lot of people who probably are already mapping, and that's awesome. That's not me. I'm not there yet, but I'm very excited. Probably depending on how the editing of this goes, hopefully by the end of today or by tomorrow for sure, I'll be into maps, and that's the part that I'm the most excited for.
Oh, I can't wait. I just gave you a nice little in there. I totally started with a really loud little mouth sound.
How's your league launch?
Oh, good. So just you started as Necro, right? And then you're going with all that stuff. And
Well, I
your
started as
goals-
Witch because you got to
Sorry,
start
yes,
there.
yes, of course, of course.
I did.
Okay.
I went Necro, and that's sort of my plan right now.
I can't believe you're playing as a Necro. That's nuts.
I know. Isn't
I got
that
a
weird?
guide for you if you get lost.
Sweet.
And ironically enough, I'm testing out the Guardian with my Necro guide to see how survivability works with that.
Oh,
because
Yeah, how's that
I
going?
love all the extra buffs. So, well, I'm doing my zombie build as well, and it'll have skeletons. If I ever get a 6-link, it'll be zombies and skeletons in the same thing.
I'm doing that in a 5-link. It's so easy.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well,
It's so easy.
I got 5-link. My name's Justin. I got 5-link.
Ethan gave it to me.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm trying it out. And now, since this new Atlas passive, or not Atlas passive, the passive tree rework with the mastery system, starting one of my biggest complaints with zombies was that I think they're poorly made. Like the stats they have until around gem level 10 or 11 are ridiculous. You just couldn't do anything. There was no point getting them right off the bat. They couldn't survive. There's no way to keep them up unless you use something like Purifying Flame. Level 10, you can get Vitality, but it was really annoying. They're just not meant to survive the beginning of the game. And then you throw in this Act 1 and Act 2 revamp. Well, every instance of burning ground absolutely destroys them. That improved substantially. They didn't change the gem in 3.16, but that improved substantially with the oh man, I'm going to say Atlas Passive Tree all the time now. With the Passive Tree rework and the Masteries system, it let you choose different things. Like, okay, I don't need my max resists, my +8 to maximum resist for zombies until later because they're not going to be max resist until later. So it gave me the option to put 1% of minion damage is leached as life, my 11th node. You know what I mean? And there was another cluster, like there were 2 good survivability nodes for minions right close to the tree start for witches. Love it. Absolutely love it. It made League start so easy last League. I'm not starting as a witch now. I'm using my same zombie guide, but I'm starting as a guardian. And I'm like, okay, let's go for survivability right off the bat. But I added extra auras. I do need sovereignty so that I can run pride and determination and dread banner. Yeah, those 3. And then I'm going to have 2 other auras as well, but they're going to be on arrogance, clarity, and vitality. So I decided, and then now I'm going to have to do another League start with Guardian again to see if the leveling process is actually that bad with zombies. But I went for sovereignty first, just to make sure, like I just hate being limited. So I want to like get it out of the way. I'm not even Act 2 yet, but let's get it. And then I can run my auras as soon as I get them. Except I forgot I couldn't get arrogance until Siosa, but still. So I went and did that first, and then I started heading to the right above where the witch starts to get my survivability. And so I got there too late. I was a little frustrated in the end of Act 2 fighting Dominus. Zombies couldn't stay alive for the life of them. They probably wouldn't be able to anyway, but yeah, there was a few battles, the Dominus fight, and then Gravitius was actually a huge pain in the butt in the middle of Act 3 because my skeletons just got and the zombies were dead right away. So, but I think that falls on me. I'm curious to see how survivability would be for those minions if I got sovereignty second and then got that survivability above the witch first. So it's been a good League launch. I'm at the end I'm just about to do the 3 bosses before Malachi at the end of Act 4. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy it, and I'm really excited to be the Guardian.
Dominus for me was awful. It was right before Dominus that I'm like, okay, maybe I can pull off SRS and go just with skeletons and zombies. Nope. It was an awful fight.
Yeah.
By the time I got to Malachi, it was fine. But and that is 100% also on me too. Like it's, trying to optimize a little bit and not really focusing on what I needed to focus on. But they were poop. They were targets. That's all they were there for. And then you can't summon any more back up. I mean, I guess I could have if I was throwing
zombies are
down,
a pain. They're not made for that, man. No way.
Yeah.
Yeah. One setup, I'm not doing this setup, but I've always loved this setup because it's just consistency. And I played around a lot with this idea when I was doing my animate weapon build. But to do it with SRS is just something like Cyclone, Cast While Channeling, and then SRS. So it is kind of a waste of buttons and, of course, damage supports. But goodness me, to have that consistency of just no matter what you're doing, you're just always going to have 20 SRS up. But if they die, they're just coming back up. that type of peace of mind and survivability, no matter your circumstance, I just absolutely love it. I'm not doing that. And of course, it's lower damage, but I love that concept and that prospect. It's a lot of fun. Are you happy with your league launch so far then? You're what, Act 6 you said? Act 7?
8.
Oh, of course you are.
Yep. It's been good. It's been good. I mean, it's still the axe, but Archnemesis helps. And I'm telling you, that carrot of this new Atlas and the Atlas passive tree is making getting through this process a lot easier.
Oh, can't friggin' wait to start interacting with both of those. That's just going to be insane. Do you know where Josh is right now? Is he mapping yet?
He's probably getting close. I don't actually know. I assume he's playing right now. Yep, he is.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
he played late last night. So it was actually really funny listening to his partner make fun of him while he played. She's like, "Is this like a competition?" He's like, "No, it resets." And I can hear questions happening, and then he's like, "Just leave me alone. Stop laughing at me." It's so fun.
Yeah, no, they're awesome. They're awesome.
But the rest of your PoE like week and league launch, how's it been?
Oh, it was good because of the layout. Like, I write 2 guides and I got both guides out really quickly. You taught me some very good basics for video editing with DaVinci. So instead of getting 2 example videos out, I only got 1 out. And but it was because I was having so much fun recording my voice and then throwing it into DaVinci and putting it in and then putting in some text. And I even threw in some of my Reddit voice in there. So it's my Righteous Fire guide, and I'm like, why aren't you an Inquisitor? Don't you even like know meta? You're like such a noob, bro. And I had fun. It's probably not going to make anyone smile or laugh, but I was peeing myself.
Yeah, I laughed. There you go.
Oh, good, thanks. Yeah, so I added that in after it was like there's dead silence for a while, and then I just start doing my Reddit voice, and no, it was good. I had a lot of fun with it, so I'm excited to learn more for the video editing stuff, but. No, it was good. And then I got my guides done. There were some hiccups, and I already had like a little bit of a thing on filters already, but I had some, like everything was done properly and fine for my filters. But now that I've played the game a bit and I see how things drop and where they are, I made some final tweaks, and those were updated as soon as I logged off yesterday. So people that use my filters would have seen those updates this morning the next time they logged in. So yeah, no, it's been fun. I can't wait to keep going, and I'm really excited to see what these Eldritch mods are. How to min-max your implicits even more. You know what I mean? Because then with the, and like how common influenced items are going to be or uncommon, how you can properly plan around those. Like, for example, I was speaking with Ethan this week about some of his builds and the options and going through them and how many of them need to be influenced, how many would just be a bonus. Do you need it? Like, we have no idea how it's going to be. So I just love this new player excitement that you get, even though you have thousands of hours experience in the game. So I honestly, I have nothing but good things to say. Like, what a smooth league launch. Like no I mean, I know there's glitches. We've seen 2 of the hot fixes, good fixes too, but like you were saying, no crashes. It's been smooth. We didn't get kicked out of queue. That never changed. I mean, I was 4,800 or something in queue. I was waiting when we were online together. It was 30 seconds and I was in.
You got it way faster than me. Jerks.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but you were like 36,000 or something. But then but everything worked for us. There was no weird glitches that were happening. Like, I know there's stuff and there's people that are going to say this, that, and another thing, but it has been so smooth for me.
Well, and one of the things I was thinking about after we played yesterday was how fun the co-op side of it was. We're going through the acts with the 3 of us, and we can go, hey, who's got, I don't even know what they're called, who's got some of the Archnemesis currency. We plan out like who's got them. Also, I have no idea why this is the case, but we couldn't figure out how to open up to see what Archnemesis tokens we each had.
Right, that is kind of weird.
The apostrophe. Apostrophe apparently opens that.
Why
no
not
idea why.
V? I wonder what V does, because V's always
V's
the
league mechanic. I'm
but
not
it doesn't
sure
open
what
anything yet.
No, it's kind of weird that that's not the
Atlas
button.
passive tree.
What?
Maybe it's
Well,
now
but
the Atlas passive tree.
But that's not the league. That's not league.
I know.
Mechanic,
Maybe they
so
changed the league button to.
It's still called league mechanic in the keyboard combo thing. So I don't understand why it's apostrophe. But FYI, if you're trying to figure out how to do it, it's apostrophe. But how easy it was for us to be like, oh, Josh has got 3, so let's use him in this round. And you know, I thought it was so easy to play with the group of us.
It was
fun.
It was.
Yeah.
I do think when we play together, there's a massive glitch that says don't give Wrecker of Days any Archnemesis mod, or any Archnemesis mods.
I did turn that setting on. You're right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was a party setting.
Yeah. Right. I just can control who gets them. I like too that they're specific to you. You can't trade them. You can't. I for some reason I enjoyed that. It was like we had to plan around who's got 2 or 3 in the next zone, so we can, you know, not min max, but just like do more of them than
not wasting them
than you could by yourself. And it was a lot of fun. I had a good time playing in co-op. So I'm excited to see how that also correlates into endgame and mapping, because it seems like this should work quite well Atlas wise. It doesn't seem like we're going to run into an issue of only one individual progressing, and I think that's awesome.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm really excited for co-op. I'll be going to town. That's right. That's what the cool kids say, right? Going to town.
Do you mean by getting some movement speed? And
no, but thank you, Josh, for the movement speed boots. But no, I just mean I'm going to get to endgame before you, because you're an old man with a bad back.
It's possible. Anyway, let's wrap this up. We've got some editing to do and some PoE to play. Hopefully everybody's league launch has been a lot of fun like us. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm really looking forward to this week.
Can't wait.
Thank you so much for joining us for episode 122, Forever Exiled, the Path of Exile podcast. I'm Justin, a.k.a. Tags.
Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Patrons, we will catch you in a shorter version of After Dark today because it's a league launch. That's what we do. And everybody else will catch you in episode 123. If you're looking for more information, you can find it down below. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. We're on Twitter, foreverexiled82. We have a Discord, which is the greatest place in the world. You should be there if you're not. And if you're looking for ways to support the podcast, you can find it down below. Patreon, etc. See ya.
Happy league launch.